Zara woke up in a room that smelled like industrial soap and alien confusion. The walls were smooth, shiny, probably made of some kind of hyper-durable material she couldn't even begin to pronounce, let alone understand. The bed beneath her was far too soft, like lying on a giant cloud that had been compressed and shaped by someone with very specific, and frankly annoying, tastes. But that wasn't what bothered her. It was the fact that she was here at all. Wherever here was. Her head throbbed. She sat up, a little disoriented, her mind racing with every possible scenario that could explain her current situation. The last thing she remembered was getting into a cab on Earth, heading to her job at the marketing firm that she definitely didn't want to be at, and, then, nothing. That was it. The cab, the city street, the familiar sounds of honking cars and endless chatter. Gone. Instead, she found herself in a pristine alien facility, a voluntary participant in a program that, according to the neon-colored flyer she'd been given, yes, they actually gave her a flyer, promised an enriching exchange between species. Right. She must have accidentally volunteered for some kind of intergalactic sex tourism. Zara rubbed her eyes and glanced around the sterile, clinical room. A metallic voice echoed in her ear. Subject 2194, your physiological status is optimal. Please prepare for the initiation of the mating program. Wait. Mating program? The words hit her like a slap across the face. She wasn't just some tourist in an alien zoo, she was the main attraction. Or more like breeding stock. Well, this is embarrassing, Zara muttered to herself, standing up. I thought I was signing up for an art exchange or something. Bait and switch. She looked around for any sign of escape, but the door was solid, metallic, and quite clearly locked. Not that she had the faintest clue what kind of key, or password, might open it. But she was Zara, so she didn't panic. At least not yet. The reality of the situation hit her, though, as she slowly began piecing it together. She wasn't on Earth anymore. She'd been abducted by aliens, who apparently had no more tact than a college freshman at a keg party. She, a woman with zero genetic value, other than a penchant for sarcasm, was now the star of some cosmic mating program. Somewhere behind a pane of glass, a small group of alien researchers observed her every movement. A soft beep made her turn toward a small monitor that flickered to life. Welcome to the mating program, Zara. Your genetic compatibility has been selected for further. Zara cut the voice off. Yeah. Not the first time I've heard that one. But I gotta tell you, if this was supposed to be romantic, you might want to reconsider your approach. Nothing says hot date like cold metal walls and creepy surveillance. There was a long pause. Then, the voice piped up again. Subject Zara, your sarcasm is noted. Prepare for your first interaction with your mate. Hold up, Zara interrupted, half laughing, half scared. My what? The walls shimmered as a figure stepped out of nowhere. Tall, slightly translucent, with eyes too big for his face and too many fingers on his hands. He stood there, trying, unsuccessfully, to look menacing, but the whole effect was more like a bad science fiction movie than a real threat. My name is Elric, he said in an alien tongue, though it was somehow translated directly into her brain. I am your assigned partner. Zara's eyes widened. The absurdity of it all started hitting her in waves. Wait a second, are you saying I'm supposed to mate with you? Elric nodded. Yes. We will. No. Not happening, Zara said, cutting him off. I mean, no offense, but have you looked in the mirror recently? Are you even a mammal? Elric blinked, unsure how to respond to this. He seemed so earnest in his attempt to fulfill his duty, but Zara was not about to let some weird alien science experiment dictate her future. Not without a fight. Or, at the very least, a snarky comment. Look, she continued, as she began to pace, here's the thing. I've got a few problems with your plan. First of all, I didn't sign up for this. Secondly, if you think I'm going to help you create some sort of human-alien hybrid that's going to solve all your genetic problems, you've got another thing coming. Elric blinked again. You are confused. The mating program is not about breeding for procreation. It is, oh, it's not? Zara interrupted, raising an eyebrow. Then what exactly is it about? Genetic enhancement? Because, last time I checked, I'm not some kind of exotic pet. I'm not here for your weird, otherworldly matchmaking scheme. Genetic enhancement, yes, Elric said, his voice more clinical now, but also for subjugation. Zara stopped dead in her tracks. Wait, what? The alien hesitated before continuing. The mating program's goal is to create a new hybrid race of humans who will be more compliant, more submissive, and genetically modified for the benefit of the Empire. Zara stared at him. Then, she burst into laughter. So, let me get this straight, you abduct humans, modify our genes, and then use us as some sort of slave labor force for the Empire? That's the whole deal? Yes. Oh my God, she said, still chuckling, you aliens are even worse at this than I thought. If you wanted a submissive race, you could have just asked for volunteers. Seriously, have you met any humans? We're terrible at being submissive. Have you ever tried to get a toddler to do anything? That's us. All day. Elric seemed unfazed by her sarcasm. You misunderstand. We believe your species is ideal for this purpose. You are resilient, adaptable, and self-destructive, don't forget that part, Zara added. But you're about to learn that the hard way. Realization began to dawn on her. The aliens were so caught up in their hubris that they failed to see the big picture. They thought humans would just bend to their will because they could tweak our genetics. But humans didn't bow easily. They fought back. They adapted. And if Zara had anything to say about it, the aliens would learn that the hard way. Well, she said with a grin, if you think I'm sticking around for your little breeding experiment, I've got news for you. I'm outta here. Elric's confused gaze followed her as she began to move toward the door. But Zara was already thinking ahead. She had to escape. Now. Zara's heart pounded in her chest as she darted toward the door. The metallic walls around her seemed to hum with an ominous energy, but she had no time to be intimidated. She needed to get out. Stop. Elric's voice came from behind, but Zara didn't even slow down. She was already scanning the room, looking for an exit or something, anything, that could help her break free. The door was solid, too thick to punch through with anything she had on hand. But then she noticed a small panel on the side, glowing softly with an array of alien symbols. It looked like a control terminal of some kind. Zara grinned to herself. This was her moment. Her fingers flew over the terminal, her eyes scanning the symbols with a combination of desperation and humor. She had no idea what half of these meant, but she had to assume that aliens were, if nothing else, predictable. She mashed her finger against the brightest button, hoping for the best. Warning, unauthorized access detected. Security breach imminent, a calm, robotic voice warned. Damn right, Zara muttered, still furiously pushing buttons. Keep it coming, buddy. The walls began to hum more loudly now, and Zara could hear the unmistakable sound of metallic doors sliding open somewhere in the distance. She didn't wait to see who was coming, she had to be quick. Without thinking, she spun and bolted toward a narrow corridor that opened up just beyond the panel. The lights flickered briefly as she sprinted down the hallway, her heart in her throat. Every step felt like it echoed through the facility, but she had no choice but to keep running. She rounded a corner and stumbled into what appeared to be a waiting area, a kind of alien lounge, complete with what looked like overstuffed chairs that glowed faintly in the dim light. The decor was ridiculously lavish in a way only aliens could manage, all strange curves and flowing patterns that felt more like a fever dream than a practical living space, but there was no time to admire the decor. There were voices ahead of her now, alien voices, unmistakably looking for her. Zara's mind raced. She could hear the soft click of alien boots against the floor, too many to outrun. But there had to be something. She didn't come this far just to get caught. Then, just as the voices grew louder, she saw it, an elevator, just across the room. The door was partially open, and the glowing panel on the side suggested it was still operational. Zara didn't hesitate. She dashed toward it, her pulse pounding in her ears, pushing herself faster than she ever had before. As her foot hit the threshold of the elevator, the doors slid closed behind her with a soft hiss. For a moment, she caught her breath, and the faint hum of the lift's engines filled the air. She was moving upward now, but where to? She had no idea. The walls of the elevator were smooth and featureless, offering no clue as to where it might take her. She slapped the panel, hoping for a button or control to show her the way. Instead, a soft voice came through the speakers. Initiating secure flight sequence. Destination, core assembly level. Zara blinked. Core assembly level, she muttered to herself, a mixture of confusion and relief washing over her. She'd just picked an elevator at random, but this might have been the best choice after all. It was taking her somewhere important. Somewhere the aliens wouldn't expect a prisoner to go. The elevator hummed steadily, and the floors blurred by as the space seemed to stretch upward. Zara glanced around, assessing the quiet. For the first time since she had woken up in this alien nightmare, she allowed herself a brief moment of optimism. She had a chance, an actual chance. She just had to keep it together. Suddenly, the lift lurched, and the soft voice returned, this time with a mechanical edge. Unauthorized access detected. Exiting sequence aborted. Please wait for security personnel to assist you. Zara's stomach dropped. The door was already opening, and she had no time to think. She hurled herself out of the elevator, landing awkwardly on the other side of the doorway, rolling to her feet with surprising speed. The moment she stood, she realized she was standing in a massive room, an assembly hall of sorts, huge, white pillars rising toward the ceiling, casting long shadows on the floor. Everything was sterile, clean, and meticulously designed. And it was quiet, too quiet. Zara darted behind one of the massive columns, her breath sharp in her chest. She could hear the soft hum of alien voices somewhere, distant, coming closer. But they weren't after her yet. Not exactly. Her pulse raced, but she couldn't let the fear get the best of her. She was starting to put the pieces together. If this was the core assembly level, this was where they were making the real decisions. This was where the alien empire's plans were being shaped. And if Zara could mess with those plans, maybe, just maybe, she could throw a wrench in their whole operation. "Think, Zara. Think," she muttered under her breath. "What would a human do in an alien headquarters?" Her eyes flickered toward the control panel on the far side of the room. It wasn't far, maybe 50 yards or so. If she could just get there without being caught. Suddenly, an alien officer appeared from behind the pillar just ahead of her. Zara froze. The alien's strange face, thin and elongated, seemed to look right past her, completely unaware of her presence. His uniform gleamed with insignia she didn't understand, but he was carrying a blaster, probably not the best thing to get caught by. Zara held her breath, still and silent. The officer's eyes scanned the room, but he didn't move. He seemed confused. She grinned. Perfect. Taking a deep breath, Zara slipped to the side, ducking behind a smaller piece of equipment. She moved quickly, her footsteps light, careful. The officer's back was still turned, and she took her chance. She dashed toward the panel. "Come on," she whispered, tapping the controls with a mix of hope and disbelief. It was absurdly simple to access, far too easy. She had to be missing something. But there was no time to figure it out now. A loud beep sounded as the panel lit up. The doors around the room began to slide open, and alien soldiers started rushing in. They weren't looking for her yet, they were looking for something else. Something had triggered their alarms. "Damn it," Zara whispered, her eyes darting to the control terminal. She had to act now, or she'd lose her shot at stopping them. Quickly, she punched a series of buttons, each one feeling like a roll of the dice. Then, she hit a large red one in the center. There was a low rumble. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the whole room went dark. Zara stood perfectly still, her heartbeat thunderous in her chest. The soldiers were shouting now, confused, stumbling in the dark. Zara took her moment and dashed toward the exit. She didn't stop running. She had no idea where the exit was leading, but it didn't matter. It couldn't matter. She was free, if only for a moment. The escape was just the beginning. Zara glanced back over her shoulder as she ran. She hadn't won yet. She wasn't sure she even understood what she was up against. But one thing was for sure, she wasn't going down without a fight.